Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join this call. Um, my name is Brandon. I'm the head of operations for FoodSock in Somerset West, the factory operations, and we're the biggest factory out of the three that we've got in the country at the moment. And I actually started my journey as a reseller in food stocks. So I'm in a pretty good position to be able to give you a rundown on what food stocks are and explaining the reseller model in depth, including different types of resellers one can become, and ultimately showing you how you can turn this into a successful business through using our proven models. So I'm just going to hop right into it. I don't want to waste any of your time. So an example of a food stock is one right here. This is the chicken pasta flavor. So you can see there's all the ingredients and instructions on the back, the weights, and all other relevant information on the front. And ultimately, it's a plastic sleeve with our recipe of ingredients, hence the name food stock. It really was created to fight the food scarcity crisis that we're facing here in South Africa, to provide affordable meal solutions. So that meal there that you see, this one feeds four people, and it costs 45 rand at retail price. So I know it doesn't look like a huge amount of food, but I can promise you, the moment you add it to a pot of boiling water, it expands massively. So that's all you need to do to cook it. Is just to add all the ingredients into a pot of boiling water and stir it, and it's as simple as that. So extremely convenient as well. So, to explain what the actual reseller model is, okay, so ultimately what it boils down to is rather than buying the product from us for 45 Rand, we give it to our resellers at a special price for 25 Rand excluding VAT. So that works out to 28 Rand 75 cents, and then the resellers sell it for 45 Rand. Okay. So, in order to get those prices, what one needs to do is obviously to become a reseller, and you need to get a starter pack. I'll explain the details of that in a few minutes. But I first want to address where you would sell it to. So, we've ultimately got two main target markets. Okay, and this is just from the data of what has been actually working for our current resellers, for us, so that you can apply the business models that have actually been working, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So, we've got two different target markets. Okay, the one is someone who uses the food stock as a full meal solution. So this is normally someone who's in the lower income bracket, okay, who's struggling to meet the breadline, and uses the food stock as a full meal solution because that's the way it was designed. It was what it was originally intended for. So in other words, you don't need to add any spices. You don't need to add meat. The products are soya based. Okay, we actually, in fact, we collaborated with Franco Ferreira and his academy. He is a renowned chef in South Africa. Well, unfortunately, he passed away a few months ago. But when we first started, he was very involved in the actual creation of the recipes with us. So he was hugely important in helping us to develop our recipes to make sure it's not only affordable but it tastes really good too. Okay. But the first target market is someone who uses it as a full meal solution. Okay. I also get often some questions of people asking me, well, what if I feed my family of four people? We each have a packet of 2 minute noodles, or I cook a pot of pap and add some gravy and some cabbage. I can feed four people for less than 45 rand. The big downside to that is the nutritional values. So we've also collaborated with local, international nutritional experts to help us evaluate where we can improve, and we've done exactly that. And what we've now got is a product that is extremely nutritious. So one can get the short-term satisfaction of a full stomach, but it has detrimental effects to the long-term health. Whereas this product combats that head-on. Okay, for an extremely affordable price, you can not only survive but thrive off of food stocks. So so many products out there these days contain huge amounts of sodium. Okay, and we all know how bad that is for you, right? It causes heart disease, contributes massively to cancer. So this product really is a solution that can help fight the food scarcity crisis we're facing in South Africa by providing nutritional and affordable meals. So the other market is someone who uses it as a base to their cooking, right? So rather than adding it So rather than not adding anything to it, one can add things to it to make it go even further. This is obviously for those in the higher, middle to higher income bracket classes. I mean, for example, what I do on a Wednesday, my wife works late, right? So cooking dinner's on me. And what I do 80% of the time is I cook a food stock, especially with load shedding, right? So I don't have a gas stove. So I have an electric stove. So, I have to make sure I cook in time for load shedding. And what I do is I will put use pasta bolognese, for example. I'll pour the pasta bolognese, just literally cut open the packet, pour everything into a pot of boiling water. Okay, stir that, and then I cook some mince on the side. And once the mince is cooked, after a few minutes, I add that into the pot. And within 20 minutes, I've got a wholesome meal, ready. So my wife comes home, she can have an amazing meal. So yeah, it can turn anyone into a chef. So that's the beauty of it, right? And at the same time, we're being very economical about our food budgets. And with the extra money we're saving, because I don't have to go buy all the individual ingredients, I don't have to go chop up all the individual ingredients. I literally just poured it all into a pot, right? So without the need to buy those individual ingredients, I've now saved massively in my budgets for my food budgets. And with the extra money, we go out more weekends on, we go on date nights more often. We go away on weekends more often because it saved us thousands at the end of the month, just from not needing to go buy. And you don't have to eat food stocks every day to do that. Even if it's once or twice a week, you're going to make a massive impact in your budgets. Okay, so that's the other market. We do also, there's a few branches of that, obviously, but I will get into that a bit later as well. So actually, I'll just go into it now. We've got I would say two main categories of resellers. There's the direct reseller, and then there's the distributor. So the direct reseller is someone who sells directly to the end consumer, and the distributor is someone who sells to a third party. All right. So each one obviously has their own pros and cons. So I'll go through them and then explain the pros and cons, and you can see what really would fit your environment the best. Okay. So the first one is for the direct reseller who's selling to the end consumer. An example of that is someone who sells online. Okay, so that's how personally I started, because I have a marketing background, well, specifically a digital marketing background. So I saw a gap in the need for, an online store. I worked out the courier costings within the margins. Okay, so that's also a huge benefit. With a 40% margin, you can work out costings and you can still walk away with a huge profit. Okay, so work out the freight system. Create an easy method for people to buy online. Obviously, through the digital marketing efforts, it performed extremely well. Okay, so another option is markets. Okay, so people. We have a lot of resellers who go to their local markets, like flea markets or farmers markets, and they set up stands and stalls and sell directly to the consumer. Another one that works really well is shopping malls. In fact, some of our most successful resellers are positioned in shopping malls. And I think the big reason for their success is, more than just their physical presence. It's the fact that they can do activations or sampling. So, there's the common misperception that the food stock simply sells itself because of the value it has for an affordable price. However, that's not the case. Okay, we need to educate the consumer about the value, because what happens is automatically there's a huge negative connotation in their mindsets when they can see that it's affordable meals. They think, it must taste horrible, must not actually feed four people, which I promise you it tastes great, and it definitely feeds four adults. Okay, not just people. So that's, that automatically overcomes those objections that they're having in their minds when they actually first taste the sample and then they see where it came from. And, most of the time they're shocked and can't actually believe that it came from a food stock. So, it's really, that works extremely well. If anyone lives in Cape Town and you're close to the Willowbridge Mall, go check it out on the Saturdays. One of our resellers has a really nice stand there, and they do phenomenally. So if you want to get an idea of what that looks like, either go look on our Facebook page and you can see it there, or go to the mall and you can check it out. Okay, so the pros and cons of the direct reseller. So now the pros obviously is that your margins are a lot larger. So, you're not giving away a percentage to the third party unless you want to do the online system and include freight or whatever you want to do. Okay. But if you have a physical presence, you're working with a lot more margin. The con of that, though, is it requires a lot more of your physical time. Okay, unless you want to employ people to do it for you, and you want to be in multiple malls or multiple markets, you can do that. It's, nothing stopping you from doing that either. Yeah, that's the quick rundown of the direct reseller. Okay, so then we have the distributor. So these are people who aim for volumes over margin. Okay, and it's one of my favorite models. I think it works exceptionally well because of the margin being so big, right? The 40%. Way someone could practically implement this is to go to a retailer. So we have some retailers, for example, supplying their local spas. So what they'll do is they'll go to the spa, sell it to the spa, say for 34 Rand, and then the spa will sell it for, say, 45 Rand. Okay. Just on a note on that, we are very strict on the price for the end consumer, as long as it does not go above 45 Rand. Okay, resellers can run promotions, therefore they can sell it for less than 45 Rand, but we do our best to monitor that price that does not exceed 45 Rand, because then it defeats the whole purpose of the product being an affordable solution. Okay. But yeah, so for someone supplying a retailer, they'll sell it to them for 34 Rand. The retailer sells it for 45 Rand. The retailer is happy because they're getting their 20 to 25% margin, and you're happy because you're also getting a really good margin on that. And I often see resellers trying to lowball the retailer. And it's another thing I just want to mention. Like, for example, I've spoken to a few resellers who are like, no, I'm going to sell it to the retailer for 40 Rand, and then they can sell it for 45 Rand and make 5 Rand. Okay, but I think I'm not a fan of that mindset, should I say, because what you really want to do is you want to empower the side that is the driving force behind the sales, which is the store. Okay, so if they're getting a really good margin of say, remember, 20% is a really good margin. As long as they're getting their 20%, you can sell it. Even if you're making 4, 5, 6 Rand per fruit stock sale, and they're making 10 Rand. You're not shooting yourself in the foot, because the sales, the force driving the sales, is being empowered through their margin, or through their 10 Rand per sale. It's actually going to get you a lot more sales in the long run. So, definitely think about your strategy when approaching a retail store. Rather take a little bit of a lower margin, but aim for much higher volumes. Then you do it at 4, 5, 10 stores, and you've got an amazing scalable business solution. So that is an example. Another way that people can become distributors is through selling to their to creches, to local creches, to churches, schools is another one. I mean, I approached my high school with it, my old high school, and I told them that, I proposed to them that I would sell it to them, say sell it to them for 33 Rand. Okay. So my margin is not a huge amount. Okay. But they sell it for, say, 40 Rand. Okay. Or 40, I think they sold it for 42 Rand. And I propose that they run it as a fundraiser. So what they do is, for every fruit stock that a student buys, they donate it to a charity of their choice. And then the profit margin that they make, okay, so because they're buying it from me at a lower price than they're selling it for, they make a margin on that. So that is technically their fundraiser, and they reinvest that money back into the school, whether it be for the matric dance or I don't know, whatever they really want to use it on, sporting activities. It's up to them. And also for the school to be transparent about that, so the students know that not only is it a fundraiser, but it's a charitable drive. The school could even sell it for the consumption of the students and their families, right? That's what also ended up happening is, families were buying it for themselves as well. So that is another way that you could approach it. So there's so many opportunities, and that's a model that you guys could literally steal from me and implement to your old high school right now. There's nothing stopping you. Like our school loved it. They ate it up. The head of the Interact Club, he absolutely loved it. And in a few days after we gave them their first order, they were ordering again. So really, like it's something you guys could literally implement now. You could also apply the same thing to churches. Okay, so just do the same thing for the church in your area. I think what you really should do is literally just spend 5 minutes. Okay, after the call, just take 5 minutes and just think about your local environment and think about your network, and just your bubble, right? How could you leverage this in your ecosystem? I guarantee you, if you do that, you will find at least a handful of ways that you could implement this and turn it into a successful business. Okay. Um, yeah. So I think the big question is, well, how do I become a reseller? So in order to become a reseller, you need to purchase a starter pack. Okay. So a starter pack is an investment of 5,600 Rand. So the breakdown of that is that it's a 550 Rand license fee included in that. So that license fee pretty much is what allows you to resell it. Okay, so it's a very important part. It's a once-off cost. Okay, so it's not going to be on every order. It's a once-off cost, and that's what gives you the permission to legally resell our product, utilize our brand name, etc. Okay. Then the 450 Rand of that is for courier costs. Okay, that covers you nationwide. So no matter where you are in South Africa, we will courier to you within that price. And then you're left with 4,600 Rands worth of actual stock. Okay, so that's the wholesale value of the stock, right? So meaning 154 socks at wholesale price. The retail value of those food socks are about 6,930. Okay, so just under 7,000 Rand worth of stock, right? So right from the get-go, including the once-off license fee, you're making a profit on your first order. And how quickly you sell that really depends on how much time and effort you put on it and what strategy you want to apply. We have resellers who literally sell out of their starter packs before it even arrives. Okay, and that's not because it takes a long time to arrive either. Our turnaround time is usually a few days. So, the level at which your business scales is really depends on you and the effort you want to put into it. We also provide immense training and support. So, bi-weekly we have webinars like this, a bit more interactive, where we have a sales guy. His name is Alfie. He's been in sales for many years, and he's really good at what he does. He is our reseller manager, so he will be dedicated to our resellers, and he's brilliant. Anyone who attends his training succeeds. And I know that sounds like a lie, but I can promise you now that we don't have a single reseller who attends his training and actually applies what he's teaching and has failed. They've all become successful resellers. Okay, so we've now sitting at about 300 resellers nationwide. Okay, keep in mind there's about 60 million people in our country. Okay, of which at least 80% of that could benefit from a solution like this. So the opportunity is massive for resellers wanting to come on board now. Obviously, the sooner the better, so you can dominate your local markets. Okay. So the other important note on becoming a reseller is that in order to maintain your reseller status, you need to do a minimum monthly order of at least 2,200 Rand. Okay, that's crucial. So the reason that we enforce that, just so you understand, okay, is because we list you as a reseller on our website, and we run campaigns and marketing efforts to direct traffic to that website, to our resellers page, where people can find resellers in their area. So we're literally bringing you free business as well. And we need to make sure that any reseller that they find there is still active and hasn't been out of date, or like hasn't last ordered 5 months ago and hasn't reordered. So it's absolutely crucial that we know all our resellers are active and adhere to their minimum monthly purchases. Okay, so if you're someone who happens to think that this is an easy way to make money, okay, or a some sort of get rich quick scheme, then you're pretty mistaken. If you're someone who wants to utilize a proven business model to fast track your success, then, and is willing to put in the work, then this is ideal for you. Okay, so yeah, I hope that makes sense. We would rather prefer quality over quantity when it comes to the number of resellers we have. We want people who are going to be dedicated and treat this as an actual business. Okay, so I hope it excites some of you. There's so much that one could do to implement this. Okay, so if you've still got some more questions and there were some things that I mentioned about that you weren't 100% sure and you want some more clarification, please click the button below. You will then be able to schedule a call with one of our onboarding specialists. Okay, he will be able to take you through and answer any questions that you may have. All right. If you are ready to take the next step, that's fantastic. All you need to do is select either if you want the stock couriered to you, or if you want the stock if you want to collect from one of our warehouses, being in Somerset West, in George in the Western Cape, or in KZN. You're welcome to collect from one of our warehouses, and it will obviously your total investment will be less 450. Okay, so 5150. So if if you're ready to take the next step, choose one of those options, whether you want shipping or not, and we will begin processing that order as soon as possible. Okay, almost with the immediate effect. So we normally tell our resellers that there's a turnaround time on stock of 2 weeks, but realistically, we pack reseller packs, within about 2 days and send them off to our freight company. We use the courier guy to do all of our shipping, so they're very renowned. We chose to rather use a more reputable company and know that our stock is going to be handled correctly and it's not going to come to you, all messed up. So they've been fantastic in working with us. So I hope that you guys are able to take the next step, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks.